the UK wins when it comes to irony and sarcasm, but you know, Americans are pretty good at the dad jokes.
Which is to say, of all the worst humor, they are the best.
Hey guys, I'm Eric.
And I'm Grace. We're the Wandering Ravens.
We are a couple of digital nomads who have been wandering around the world for over 3 years, and we make videos on this YouTube channel about travel and culture.
If either of those topics interest you, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the little bell icon so that you can get notified every time we release a new video.
Today we are introducing you to a list of things that British people do that Americans don't do.
This video is part of a series, so if you want to catch part 2, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon. Part 2 is coming out in just 2 days. And without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. Cricket. Now, we've had several Brits try and explain the rules of cricket to us, but we are still very clueless. This is definitely not something Americans partake in at all, and as a result, we just cannot wrap our heads around this game.
In America, cricket is a very stereotypical British thing to do, but none of us do it, so we have no idea how to play it, what it is, and despite having some lengthy dinner time conversations with some Brits, as well as watching videos on YouTube, we're still very confused about the rules of cricket. But question for you, is cricket as common in the UK as we think it is? Like in the States, I don't know, you kind of imagine that schoolyards are full of children with bats and sticks and whatever the thing you knock over is called.
Wait, cricket involves all of those things?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you getting it confused with rugby?
No, I knew cricket had bats.
Okay.
But knocking over things?
Yeah, you have the thing, I'm forgetting the name for them, but they have this 3 things and then a thing on top, and you have to hit the ball to knock them over.
Oh, we probably just butchered that.
As you can see, we're very confused by the rules of cricket because this is not a game that is played in the United States. If you play cricket, do your best to explain it to us down in the comments. We will be most appreciative. EUROVISION. We had never even heard of EUROVISIon before going to the UK. We were at a friend's house, we were having dinner, and they mentioned that they were really looking forward to EUROVISIon that year, and we were very surprised because first we were like, what is EUROVISIon? And then as they explained it to us, the second question in our mind was, how have we never heard of EUROVISIon? From what we understand, EUROVISIon is this music extravaganza that Europe puts on, and all these European countries compete in this big singing competition. And as it's been relayed to us, the UK consistently always comes in last place. Our hearts go out to you guys for that.
We definitely want to catch this at some point though, but we really want to catch it with Brits because we think the experience of watching it would be so much more fun if we were with people who really looked forward to it, like we've heard a lot of our British friends do. So we want to catch EUROVISIon, but we want to do it with Brits.
Aren't costumes a big part of it?
I feel like I've heard something about you eat certain things, you drink certain things, or you just have a lot of drinks maybe is what I heard.
It's a good excuse to get boiled in the bag.
That sounds terribly unpleasant.
If you don't know what boiled in the bag means, watch this video.
Putting X at the end of messages. Now, we've mentioned this briefly in previous videos, how when we first started making British friends, they would always put a little X at the end of text messages, Facebook messages, even Facebook posts. And this really confused us at first because this is not something Americans do. We had no idea what it meant.
For me, I was like, okay, what could this mean? I'm guessing that it means X is kind of like the texting equivalent of when you're on a radio or walkie-talkie and you're saying, over, you know, here's my message, Roger, Roger, over, and it means that you're done with your message. So if I'm texting you, I send an X, and that kind of means signing off, now it's your turn to respond. So that's what I thought.
I thought that was a very creative idea because I did go to the whole XOXO thing that we do in the States, and I was like, oh, maybe they forgot to put an O on there, or maybe they just shorten it to that. So I kind of was on the right trail. You were closer to it than I was for sure. But yeah, in the UK, putting an X at the end of your message just means kiss. Like bisou bisou. In the States, people don't do this. At least we have never encountered it literally in my entire life until going to the UK. I never encountered anyone in the States putting an X at the end of a text message or Facebook message. You know, when you're a kid,
you write XOXO at the end of letters that you handwrite. So if you write a letter to grandma, your mom's gonna tell you, now give your grandma hugs and kisses, and you're gonna write XOXO. But it's always in that order, XOXO. It's never just X by itself.
And then you stop doing that when you grow up. Like,
Yeah.
we never do that ever to each other.
Yeah, it's a childhood thing. So it's something that kids do, kind of like nursery rhymes and, you know, singing Ring Around the Rosies, that sort of thing.
Something I am curious about is X etiquette, because we've heard a lot of people say that you always put an X or even two X's at the end of a message. Otherwise, the other person will think that you are upset at them or annoyed at them. And so we never put X's at the end of our messages at first. And so now we're like, oh dear, I hope nobody ever thought that we were offended at them or anything like that. But I'd love to learn more about the whole etiquette of it. Who do you send X's to? Is it just everybody, or are there certain people that you don't send it to?
Yeah, like if I'm texting my boss, do I say, I'll be late for work today, X? Probably not.
Probably not. I mean, I'll be your boss.
Oh, okay.
Send me some X's.
I'll send you some X's. It's when you get into the multiple X's too that you get into trouble, because at least in the United States, if you do 3 X's, that means something very specific. I'm not sure if it has that meaning in the UK.
Probably not.
Yeah, but X's gets into dangerous territory in the States.
Now that we understand how X is used, this is something that we've adopted and are continuing to adopt because we really like it. I think it's so cute, and I really like it. Now I sign off all of my messages with
A little X.
Yeah, usually 2.
Beans for breakfast and on toast.
In theory, this sounds really good. I'm all for a savory breakfast, but this is just not really something that Americans do. I've never heard of anyone putting beans on toast for breakfast.
Well, I actually did it growing up.
Really?
Yeah. My mom was actually raised in Mexico, and so we grew up eating a lot of Mexican food. And so beans and rice are Mexican food staples. And so as a result of that, we would have slices of toast with refried beans on top, tons of melted cheese, delicious. And beans in every combination. But that was refried beans. So like the mashed up,
Yeah, so that's not the same as how they do it in the UK, but it's still having beans for breakfast.
It's still having beans for breakfast.
Which is not something Americans would do, I don't think.
No, it's not. I am not a representative American in that situation. The kind of beans that people in the UK have for breakfast is what we in the States would eat for dinner or lunch at a barbecue specifically. You're gonna have your plate with mashed potatoes and salad and a burger and a fruit salad and your beans and maybe a corn on the cob.
Ooh, that sounds so good.
Yeah, it's a barbecue food.
Leaving cheese and meat sitting out of the refrigerator. This is something we noticed when we first visited the UK, was that Brits would leave meat pies or wheels of cheese just sitting out on their counter for hours at a time.
All day, and then people would just, walk by and slice some of it off and eat it. But it would just be sitting there.
And that was something that was really shocking because you always refrigerate meat and cheese in the States like all the time. You would only take it out if you were going to eat it right then, and then you'd put it back in the refrigerator as soon as you were done.
And at least when it comes to cheese, we found out that there's a reason for this, which we didn't know this before. While we were in the UK, there was this cheese shop in Bath, which is so incredible. As we've mentioned in other videos, we were in Bath for 5 days, and every single one of those days, we bought over 200 grams of cheese from this cheese shop and ate it for dinner.
Oh, it was so good.
So good. We became friends with one of the employees that was there during that time, and he educated us about cheese and let us know that, when you're eating cheese, you want to let it out and get to room temperature, because that really brings out the flavor in the cheese. Whereas if you just pull it out of the fridge, chop it up and eat it, it's not gonna have as much of a spectrum of flavor as it would if you let it sit out for a few hours and then ate it.
While most food can only be at room temperature for a maximum of 4 hours before it goes bad, we found out that cheese can be left out at room temperature for much longer. Like what, 8 hours or something?
Yeah, about 8 hours, yeah. But then when it comes to the meat, I don't really have an explanation for that one.
No, because if you leave meat especially, bacteria will begin to grow there.
Yeah, so I'm not sure why people leave the meat sitting out that long. Maybe with meat pies, specifically we saw it happening with cured meats, salami, stuff like that, as well as meat pies, which we've mentioned in other videos. We didn't like the jelly in the pies. But we're gonna come back and we're gonna eat jelly-free pies in order to learn to like it. But we probably won't eat it if it's been sitting out all day.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, but I guess there might be something where with those specific kinds of meat, maybe, they don't go bad as quickly. If you know the answer to that, do let us know. Because it's kind of weirding us out seeing all this meat sitting around the UK. Real quick, before we get to the next point, we're gonna take a moment here to interrupt your program and solicit you.
That sounds bad. We're not soliciting you, we're informing you. If you guys want to see behind the scenes footage as well as bloopers, outtakes, deleted scenes from today's episode, among others, make sure that you go on over and join our Patreon. Link in the description below.
And now, back to your broadcast. Wearing paper crowns on Christmas Day. So this one is very new for me. I only heard about this tradition a few weeks ago when someone mentioned it in our comment section, wearing paper hats, crowns specifically on Christmas. And I still don't know why. Does it have to do with the Magi?
No, actually, I did read a little bit about this, and I've heard that people believe that it comes from the ancient Romans and how they used to wear crowns to celebrate a holiday that was going on around that time of year, which I thought was really neat.
Wow.
And these hats or crowns are inside of Christmas crackers, is what I've also read.
What's a Christmas cracker? Or you mean like a cookie?
No! No. Have you never done Christmas crackers?
No.
Okay, they're not common in the States. I only did it once when I was hosting an old-fashioned Christmas party. So Christmas cracker is like a tube, and it's like wrapped in fancy wrapping paper. And apparently it kind of makes up. The reason it's called a cracker is because it makes this sound when it's opened. And so you have two people, and you would hold on to one end, and I'd hold on to the other. You pull.
Oh, well, maybe that's we do have a something like that in the States that we do for New Year's. I've seen those where you pull them, bam, and then makes smoke and like confetti flies out.
Oh.
So Christmas crackers, there's number 7 things that we don't.
Yeah, surprise, bonus one.
And I just want to make sure I am understanding this correctly. So we're gonna look it up. Christmas crackers.
Ooh la la.
We would like to invite you to take part in the great British family tradition of pulling Christmas crackers.
I'm gonna open it up. Oh, wow, it's some sort of stencil thing.
He didn't even open it up the right way. He just
my
tore
goodness,
it from the side.
The bastardization.
See, me and Mark Wahlberg have no idea what Christmas crackers are. Crowning.
A crown.
We would wear the hats.
How will Christmas dinner be different at Brexit?
No Brussels.
No Brussels.
No. Well, let me hold it, man.
I thought you'd. No.
Oh, shit. I think I get to shoot you in the face with this lovely device. Oh.
Oh, it's film. Oh my God, that's battery acid. Oh.
Is it?
Ow. Oh.
God, sorry.
Oh. Ah.
This is a British gag.
Oh,
I'm not
BBC,
British,
you're
clearly.
going down. I'm going to sue the BBC
Wow.
now.
So a couple of questions. First, Christmas crackers seems like a really fun tradition. Do you guys, is that a common one in the UK? Is it something everyone can expect to do at Christmas time, is do the Christmas crackers? That's really cool. But another thing I'm noticing is that whenever they pull these apart, there's a joke or something inside. Is that part of the tradition? Is having a joke?
That'd be so fun. Can we, let's make this a tradition in our house.
The UK wins when it comes to irony and sarcasm, but Americans are pretty good at the dad jokes.
Which is to say, of all the worst humor, they are the best.
And this is where we're gonna end today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell because we're gonna be releasing part 2 in 2 days. Also, don't forget to mark your calendar for the live stream this coming Saturday. Swing on by, swap some drinks with us, and have some good chats about British culture.
And if you want to support our channel and help us make better videos more often, consider joining our Patreon. Link in the description below.
Again, I'm Eric.
And I'm Grace.
We're the Wandering Ravens.
And we will see you guys next time.
Bisous!